Cobb County government has to step in.
Hopefully, local government steps in.
And this is election year for them too. We're gonna have to really press them to step in, even when the school district does not step in. So yeah, but the people are gonna have to speak up. The people are gonna have to really make their voices be heard, like we did when we was in the streets with Ahmad and Floyd and all. Then we were in the streets. Absolutely. We're gonna have to come back to the streets again when we're talking about the safety of moving forward.
Dummies discuss. People like what's all the fuss. You about to miss the bus. And we're trying not to cuss.
Yeah, man.
I'm gonna switch gears just quickly.
Okay.
Trying to figure out how I'm going to ask it. Well, let me ask this question first, because for some people, especially a lot of times, we throw out school board and all that stuff, superintendent, but we really don't know what those people's jobs are or who's what, or you know what I mean? Like recently in some recent conversations I had with other people, they weren't sure if the superintendent is elected by the people. They were like, when did we vote on the superintendent, right? So like there's this disconnect of even knowing like what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So what is the relationship between a superintendent and a school board?
So history, in Georgia, we used to elect superintendents, and then I believe we had a constitutional amendment or something, and it became the responsibility of the school board. So the Board of Education, specifically for Cobb County, even for Marietta City Schools, their only employee is the superintendent. The Board of Education does not deal with day-to-day operation. They hire one person to manage the day-to-day operation for the entire district. The Board of Education is simply what we call, they just make policy. That's it. They create policy for the superintendent to create policy and procedure for the rest of the district to function. So we don't vote for our superintendent. He is hired by the 7 people we elect to represent our communities on the Board of Education. So if you're not happy with your superintendent, you have to talk to the person you elect and hold them accountable in the ballot box. Mm-hmm. That's it. And if you're not happy with your elected official because of whatever reasons, you have an opportunity every 4 years, and your vote is what speaks volumes. And I'm gonna tell you, this year, the elections spoke a lot. They spoke a lot in Cobb County.
Mm-hmm. So. Absolutely. So
how many chairs are changing over on the school board?
4. We're in the 4, and then the next 4 years it'll be.
But I'm saying of the 4 that were up, there were 4 that were up for election this year.
Yes.
So how many of those seats were overturned? How many income?
So there's post 1, 3, 5, and 7. Post 1, who is Randy Scammahorn, he is the Republican nominee, and Dr. Vicki Benson. Yeah. Oh, we did?
You can keep talking. I was just letting you know we lost Marvin.
Dr. Vicki Benson is the Democratic nominee. So in November, they will go head to head, and one of them will be post 1's representative. I am the Democratic nominee for post 3. There is no Republican challenger. So I am the presumptive board member for post 3. I will be representing us in January. Post 5 is currently David Banks. Post. And he had 2 Republican challengers, and he came out on top. So he's the Republican nominee, and he had 2 Democratic challengers. And so Julia Hurtado is the Democratic nominee, and they will meet up in November. And whoever wins from that will be the board member. And post 7 is Brad Wheeler, our board chair currently. And he did not have a challenger, so he's the Republican nominee. And a young lady by the name of Lindsay Terrebonne, she's the Democratic nominee. She didn't have a challenger either. So in November, them 2 will match up. Yeah.
All 4 could potentially change.
Yes. And Cobb County is a changing district, so I expect at a minimum 2 of those seats to change.
It's very
not including mine.
I'm a graduate of Cobb County Schools too, and when I got here, the number of Hispanic students was very. I actually looked it up when I moved here in the 90s. The Hispanic population in Cobb County was only 2.2%. I remember being the only kid in not only my class, but in elementary school. I don't remember anybody in my grade level being able to speak Spanish until I got to middle school. And then even then, it was only like 2, maybe 3 of us until I got to high school. Like it has changed drastically.
Yes. I've been in Cobb County 35 years.
Mm-hmm.
I have seen the demographic shift. Like I said, I graduated from Pebblebrook, went to Lindley Middle School, but when I started, I went to Otis A. Brumby and East Cobb Middle School before we built the house.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Pebblebrook being 85% white and 13% black and 2% other. That being Asian, Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
And now, when I came back, some 30 years later and have my kids in school, I was like, whoa, this is not the same Cobb County. I remember it was culture shock. It was culture shock for my kids. And so, the demographics have definitely changed. That's why I said Cobb is changing. It's not the same district that we're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's a good thing. But now it's time for the board to reflect that same diversity, and to embrace that diversity. And I don't think we've done a good job of that just yet. So we have some improvement and some growth in that area. That new building is nearly completed. I believe that the school board meeting will be in person in July. We need to show up. So everyone needs to show up.
They didn't have it wasn't in person because of a building,
No, they're social distancing. So, it's convenient for everyone to have, Zoom meetings right now. So the school board meeting has been, Zooming since April. So how are we going to expect teachers to go back to school in August if in July, 2 weeks before school start, we're still having Zoom meetings?
There you go. Man, yep. So it's not safe enough for us to meet in person, but we're going to send the kids back in person. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I believe that meeting will be in person. And if it's in person, we need to show up and we need to let the district know with the news, media, and everybody else that is not acceptable. That's what I'm working on. Because we have an opportunity, and that's one of those opportunities. Chris Ragsdale, I think on the 13th, he goes before the Board of Commissioners and he asks for that $8.1 million.
Mm-hmm.
We have an opportunity to go before the Board of Commissioners and stand up in there because they're back in session. We show up down there and we let them know, do not give the school district $8.1 million for software if we're not going to have PPE in the buildings. Spend the money on making sure we're safe. If the Board of Commissioners votes on it on the 14th, so they will know by the 16th, their board meeting, whether they get the money or not. But we have an opportunity to let our voice be heard and hit them in the pocketbook. That's the big thing. Hit them in the pocketbook. Make the Board of Commissioners, and this is what I'm telling everybody now. Write your board member and tell them tell the school district to spend it on PPE and not on software. Tell them to spend it on laptops and not on software. That's what we tell them. Because this is our tax dollars. It's federal dollars, but it's still our tax dollars. And that is not a good use of funds in the middle of a pandemic.
And for the viewers, PPE is?
Personal protection equipment.
Yeah.
So mask,
hardware.
glove.
Hey Trey, real quick. Real quick for the viewers, what was the date for that meeting?
The Board of Commissioners meeting is July the 13th.
Okay.
And the school board meeting is July 16th, that Thursday.
July 16th. And also, where can people watch it if they can't make it in person?
CobbK12.org. On the main page, it's a prompt right there on the left-hand side that says you can watch the board meeting live.